Good evening. The April 25th, 2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Chairwoman Conley.
Present.
Mr. Delahanty.
Here.
Mr. Moyo.
Here.
Ms. Taylor.
Here.
Mr. Wilcox.
Here.
Is there anyone signed up for the public forum this evening?
Yes, there is. Would Tom Gregory please come forward to address the committee?
I think everybody in this office or in this legislative chambers knows that I believe in good government as much as anybody here. I am concerned at this call to have these special investigative committees and things like that. I'd like to point out to this legislative body that the county executive, after getting the information she needed to make a decision within 72 hours, made resolution to it by dismissing a person that she found to have, I hope, inadvertently assisted in what's been a lot of media frenzy. I think that one of the things I celebrated, in fact, a comment made to the legislative president prior to last month's meeting, was how nice it was being in these chambers, the fact that everybody on the Democrat, the minority side, and the majority side seemed to be very much more in agreement and working things out within this legislative body, this honorable legislative body. I certainly don't support this call for a special investigation or comprised of legislative members. I think we still have a public integrity committee or a body that's still available up until, I think we still have a public integrity office. We're going to be replacing that office. We also have the district attorney who has said that she would look into this matter, which, by the way, if you look at the motion that this honorable legislative body passed, is included as one of the people that we can go to with a complaint. But I would close my comments on this final point, is that even the motion itself, in my opinion, fails. It fails in its want to have equal number of Democrats with an equal number of Republicans and have co-chairs. And I believe it fails because it doesn't give us the kind of representation of all the voters in this county. Obviously, the people of Monroe County have voted to have a majority Republican legislative body and a minority Democrat body. And I think that our committee composition should reflect what's also the choice of the people of this county. That's to have a Republican lead. I would close, I guess, finally saying that I'm really impressed in the action that the county executive has taken. I think she represents a good leader for our county. Thank you very much.
Is there anyone present who is not signed up to speak who would like to address the committee at this time? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. You have the January 25th, 2016 minutes before you. They will stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk?
Referral 16-0133, authorizing the creation of a special legislative committee introduced as a matter of urgency to perform an internal
Moved by Legislator Moyo, seconded by Legislator Wilcox. Legislator Moyo, as the maker of the referral, would you like to address the committee?
Yes, I would. Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. Recently, it was revealed that the County of Monroe Industrial Development Agency, also known as COMITA, released sensitive contract information about the status of a COMITA-aided project, I-Square LLC, to Republican Party Chairman William Rylick without cause. In fact, Mr. Rylick was able to obtain information about the contracted agreement in question prior to COMITA notifying the business owners, Mike and Wendy Nolan, or the affected taxing jurisdictions, the town of Arundequoit and the West Arundequoit Central School District, about these potential issues. This is obviously an alarming scenario that violates the principles of fair play. While the agreement entered into by Comida should be public record to encourage transparency with the use of tax dollars, when issues arise with the agreements, business owners should have the right to respond as part of a resolution process before any potential issues, such as damaging the reputation of a business or its owners, come about. This type of process is one that Comida has used in the past to ensure that businesses that receive assistance hold up their end of the agreement. This is a fair and widely accepted way to conduct business, ensuring both parties have the ability to answer questions and resolve disputes. This process was clearly subverted, and worse, appears to have been subverted for political ends. This is not what the residents of Monroe County demand and deserve from their public servants. County Executive Cheryl Donalfo has shown an unwillingness to investigate the very troubling fact that her administration has politicized the county economic development efforts to a point where it has compromised Comida's ability to function. Recently, job figures show that Monroe County lost more private sector jobs than any region in the state in the first quarter of 2016. Furthermore, the county is in the process of looking for a new economic development director. The controversy surrounding Comida and the county executive's failure to seriously address it will hamper the county's ability to recruit a quality candidate for this crucial job. The citizens of Monroe County deserve better. County Executive Cheryl Donalfo demanded the resignation of one person in her administration and suggested that he was the only person involved in the controversy. That seriously undermines her credibility. While the district attorney has publicly stated that she is reviewing the matter, the county legislature has an obligation to investigate this matter in an attempt to restore the public's confidence that the county government is working for them and not for political bosses. Despite weeks of public outcry and media attention, we are no closer to knowing the truth of what went on regarding I-Square than we were when the story broke out. In fact, the administration's meek response, followed by weeks of stonewalling, has only created more questions. A non-exhaustive list I will share with this committee now. In her only public comments on this controversy, County Executive Cheryl Donalfo claimed that property inspections are routine and happen all the time. If that's the case, and the Sunday night inspection of I-Square was not inappropriate, why did former Assistant County Executive Justin Roy allegedly lie to her about that? Why does it matter who ordered the inspection? And why was he fired? What was Comida Board Chair Teresa Mazzullo's role in this entire process? Was she apprised at any point of what was happening over the weekend inspection preceding the story breaking out? The Nolans reported the status of the project on February 1st, 2016 as required under their agreement. Under the contract, the county has 30 days to notify the developer of any default in the agreement. Failure to raise any issues means the project is deemed in compliance. The Nolans were notified about their alleged default after the 30-day period. Why didn't Comida notify the Nolans within the 30-day period of the issues with compliance? Did the issuance of a report stating the Nolans were not in compliance outside of that 30-day window violate their contractual agreement? If the determination was made in January, before the required project status was due, who at Comida made this determination, and why did they fail to properly inform the Nolans? Was it appropriate for that individual to make a determination before the Nolans had made their annual report? The failure to follow the pilot agreement's requirements on the time frame for judging compliance may have exposed Comida and the county to legal action. Has anyone been held accountable for the potential damage to the county? What actions did Comida take upon the receipt of I-Square's annual progress report? My fourth question, who decided not to follow agency rules and protocol on defaults? If a default is suspected, the agency is required to request additional information and prepare a report for the pilot review committee. Has the committee met on this topic? If the project was actually found to be in default in January, someone other than Justin Roy had to be involved in the decision to not notify the Nolans of their alleged default. Who made the decision not to notify the Nolans? If, as claimed, Comida has already determined that I-Square was in default before the Palm Sunday inspection, why was a Palm Sunday inspection determined to be necessary? Is it standard procedure for a project to be declared out of compliance without any discussion with or written notification to other partner taxing jurisdictions? That same legal opinion quotes a Democrat and Chronicle interview with Mike Nolan as part of their review of compliance. Is it standard procedure for Comida to use secondhand media accounts as part of their review? The The legal opinion stating that the Nolans are not in compliance with their pilot agreement also states that the agreement requires specific buildings to be built in a specific order. The original agreement does not contain this language. Are there supplemental agreements that have not been made public, or was the legal opinion inaccurate? What was the specific involvement of the county staff other than Justin Roy? Do any other individuals' actions rise to the level of being considered unethical or inappropriate in their capacities? If so, how is the county addressing or correcting those problems? How did Justin Roy know that Republican Party Chairman Bill Rylick was preparing a statement that involved criticisms of the I-Square project? County Executive D'Onofrio and Chairman Rylick both made false statements about how information regarding the status of the I-Square project and the Nolans' obligations under the pilot agreement were obtained. Both said that the information was used in their political attacks was readily available from the Comida website, and it is not. These claims undermine their credibility and raise serious questions about their role and involvement in this controversy. Did the county executive have prior knowledge of the plan to leak the information and authorize its use? If not, when did she become aware of the misuse of county resources, and what was her response? Did Justin Roy contact Chairman Rylick on county time? If so, does his use of public time rise to the level of misappropriation of county time and resources? Will Comida Council be billing the county for hours spent preparing the Sunday night memo? If so, can the county take any action to recover any misspent time or the value of misused resources? How and why did Comida's legal counsel erroneously attribute a statement to the town of Irondequoit's assessor's office regarding the development noncompliance? The assessor, Ms. Enza Minio, indicates that she never made this statement that was quoted. Did Justin Roy have access to sensitive internal Comida documents as part of his normal day-to-day responsibilities? How is such data in any department of the county safeguarded? What protections exist to ensure that private data on any matter is accessible only to county employees whose job responsibilities require such access? Does the inability of local media outlets to have any access to Comida leadership represent a failure to meet transparency standards? Do county employees have any mechanism to report being given potentially unethical or illegal instructions by their superiors? What is the correct chain of command at Comida? Is it standard or acceptable practice for county staff and county retained attorneys to be receiving instructions directly from an assistant county executive without Comida's leadership, knowledge, or input? Have other site visits been conducted at Comida-funded projects? If so, how are such site visits normally scheduled? Should property owners be informed either because of legal considerations or out of common courtesy to those who have entered a contractual agreement with the county? How have other developers been notified about potential defaults of their agreements? What information precisely is protected by being considered a personnel matter? Are there standards, guidelines, and regulations that control what information can and cannot be released to balance the proper need to protect private information about current and former county employees and the likewise proper need to provide the public with information about misuse of county resources? County Executive D'Onofrio has apologized to Comida Chair Teresa Mazzullo and to the Comida staff. Are there plans for her to apologize to the Nolans and to the taxpayers of Monroe County? This administration promised to have the most transparent and ethical government in the nation, and within 4.5 months, we've received stonewalling of the media as well of the questions being raised by the Democratic caucus. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Legislator Moyo. Is there any further discussion on the referral? Well, as chair, I'd like to make a brief statement explaining my vote. I think everybody in this chamber wants the same thing out of the situation. We want accountability, independence, and we want effective and efficient government. In terms of accountability, the author of this referral has made many allegations, mostly revolving around the concept of shared, privileged information. I believe, as has this body historically, that all contractual information between Comida and the recipients of the benefits is public information and should be available to anyone who wants to view this information. Specifically, if a pilot agreement is based on certain benchmarks and certain phases, then anybody in the community, and especially people in the taxing jurisdictions, should have the ability to access that information. I continue to encourage more disclosure of contract language, benchmarks, and phases of those receiving COMITA assistance. This referral states that agreements entered into by COMITA should be public record to encourage transparency with the use of tax dollars. I think we all agree on that. This referral states that the justification language for a special investigative panel includes references to sensitive contract information. However, that seems to equate, the author seems to equate sensitive with private, or in the very least, immune from public comment and scrutiny. But this referral does fall short of providing accountability by stating conclusions before it even attempts to understand the situation. With respect to independence, the special committee presented to us tonight does not meet the goal of independence. In fact, it injects further politics into a matter which doesn't need more politics in it. A panel of legislators who are partisan and attend political fundraising events and accept political money is hardly the independent body that the maker of this motion seems to imply. In terms of effective and efficient, this committee would neither be effective nor efficient. This referral makes specific allegations which clearly favor a specific outcome of the investigation. It is impossible for a panel to be effective when the justification for the committee appears to have already created the panel's conclusions. There is a better option available to all of us, the Office of Public Integrity. Less than 2 months ago, all of the committee members of the Agenda Charter Committee decided to create the Office of Public Integrity, specifically to address allegations like these. The office is designed to bring accountability to county government, and it has that power because it truly is independent. Beyond the understanding the history of this issue, the Office of Public Integrity is empowered to go a step further and make recommendations about policies and procedures which do promote effective and efficient government. The panel described in this referral is just that, temporary and investigative in nature. It's not focused on bringing efficiency and best practices to the solution. So specifically tonight, I will be voting against this creation of a special legislative committee because I believe that an impartial Office of Public Integrity is the best venue to address these concerns. Some will argue that the Office of Public Integrity doesn't exist yet, and therefore someone else must act, but my response is the same. I would much rather have someone skilled in investigation who is not a partisan person, who can give credible and specific recommendations that the taxpayers and residents of Monroe County will find much more credible than the findings of a legislative committee. We'll now proceed to a roll call vote.
Mr. Delahanty?
No.
Mr. Moyo?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor? No. Mr. Wilcox?
Yes.
Chairwoman Conley?
No.
2 to 3, referral fails.
Next item on the agenda, Madam Clerk.
Referral 16-0136, enact a local law.
Second.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Is there any discussion? Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Through the chair and to the administration, what is the exact reason that this is being used as that a local law is being enacted in this case rather than just approving a lease?
Through the chair, the lease is being done or being asked to be approved by local law due to the fact that it was a lease by negotiation, and County Law 215 requires leases in excess of 5 years to have a local law.
Thank you. again, through the chair and to the administration, has this site been, is it located in a floodplain? Is that accurate or not accurate?
Through the chair, no, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion at this time? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Are there any other matters to come before the committee? There being no other matters, the April 25th, 2016 meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee stands adjourned. The next meeting of the Agenda Charter Committee will be held Monday, May 23rd at 5 p.m.